আর নদীটা ওই যে চরে ছিল, ওই যে চরটা আছে না, তার পূর্ব পাশে ছিল নদীটা। বন্যা আসলে আমাদের খুব কষ্ট হয়।
Can you imagine the river Brahmaputra, 30 kilometers broad? It sometimes flows at 10 knots. Families on these islands who have built their homes with everything they had. Every time the flood comes, they take not only the homes, but the very land on which they are standing. And can you feel empathy with this? Because people move their homes 20, 30 times in their lifetime. Once I saw 18 families who had not eaten for 2 days. Can you imagine that? These were families with children. This was quite unacceptable. Chores are so vulnerable. Climate impacts them daily. It impacts their lives, it impacts their livelihood, it impacts their social behavior, and unfortunately, of course, their economic and political behavior. And for them, you need to provide everything. Whole ecosystem. Lands breaking, people shifting, migrating, homes gone, years of livelihood just taken away by the river in a flash. And every time a person migrates, they become poorer. When I started Friendship 20 years ago, we started with 4 promises of saving lives, climate adaptation, poverty alleviation, and empowerment. And these are the 4 pillars on which Friendship today stands. So what is saving lives? It is the primary responsibility of mankind towards each other. You want people to live. If they are in pain and suffering, you need to ease that pain and suffering before doing anything else. So we started our flagship project, which was the Lifebuoy Friendship Hospital. And we built this hospital to give curative care.
তো আমরা যখন স্টার্ট করলাম কিছু কিছু অসুখ বিসুখ যেটা চিন্তাই করা যায় না যে এত ছিল, খুব বেশি হাইজিন মেনটেন করতো না, যার জন্য স্কিন ডিজিজ ছিল অনেক, স্ক্যাবিস, প্রচুর স্ক্যাবিস ছিল, একজনের হয়তো ফুল ফ্যামিলিতে হয়ে যায়। এর পাশাপাশি চোখের প্রচুর পেশেন্ট পেলাম আমরা, কিন্তু আমাদের চোখের ইউনিট ছিল না, আমাদের দাঁতের কোনো ইউনিট ছিল না। তো এগুলো সব কিন্তু নিড বেসড গড়ে উঠছে।
ছয়টার সময় আনা দিছি, সকালে না খাই ভাত বুধ বান্ধে নিয়ে আইছিলাম, আইনা ইন্টি খাইছি, গাড়ি দিয়ে খানি খাইছি, আবার খানি খাইতে আইছি, আইসা আবার নৌকা তুলছি উইটে, আর বাঁচি না, পরে কি করবো আবার গাড়ি নিছি হুন্ডা নিয়ে, আবার আইসা এই যে এই জায়গার নামছি, আইসা কষ্ট করতেছি,
সব ভালো আল্লাহ দিলে,
সব কিছু গালা সেদিন তাইছি, আইসা পর বাড়তেছি।
I was on the ship and I hear that a child had died on a nearby island. So I took a boat and I went there. And the child apparently had died of diarrhea. And I asked the mother, it was new for me also. And I asked the mother, didn't you know that perhaps if you had given the child salt and sugar, it may have saved the child's life? And the mother looked at me, she had no clue. And I said, then why didn't you bring her to the hospital? She didn't have 5 taka, which is like 0.05 euros, to bring the child across the river to the hospital. And I realized whatever we were doing was certainly not enough. We started our satellite clinics and community Medicaids at the field level so that if there was an emergency, linkages could be done.
So it's a kind of a good coordination mechanism through these 3-tier healthcare systems. Friendship could develop, which can also be replicable in other parts of the country, in Bangladesh, as well as across the globe.
During the time of Sidr in 2007, the coastal belt area was as deprived of health as in the northern regions. So we thought here along the coastal belt, we could build a hospital. And I really wanted it to be a hospital which was for the people of this area. It was such an unaddressed and hostile environment that Friendship chose to work in 20 years ago. Why did we choose this area? Because that is where no one came to help. They didn't come because the environment was just so difficult to handle.
Friendship introduced an idea. It's called plinth. It's an oval shape, raised 8 to 10 feet, considering flood level. And this plinth can accommodate 25 to 30 families, those who lost everything.
When you migrate and lose everything, you need a platform to stand. What are these tools or enablers? Firstly, we ensure preparedness through our community-initiated disaster risk reduction process, the CIDRR. Then, relief and rehabilitation. And after comes how to earn an income. What resources do they possess on which they can build? So we started training, optimizing any knowledge, indigenous and technical, we could imbue them with. Homestead gardening to livestock rearing to creating micro-level entrepreneurs. The idea was the initial fund would be a grant which they would need to multiply minimum by 2 within 2 years. Our work was to make sure they could do that, each one by one, till we could make systems and replicate.
সাবধান বন্যা আসতেছে আপনাদের যা কিছু মাল পশু টাকায় নিয়ে নেন
I think it's one of the strong points of Friendship is that they work very closely with the local communities and involve them in their own solutions. Flood volunteers is a very good example because with flood volunteers you get people of the communities involved in the solution and what to do when a flood comes in and how to be better prepared. And so with our climate action group and our flood volunteers, we are prepared whenever the flood comes in, which is always unexpected.
In Bangladesh, you see the grey barrier is not enough to protect the embankment. We need green barrier. This green barrier is mangroves, and that can save lives. The mangroves are natural machine to join with this fight. We have largest mangroves nursery in private sector in Bangladesh. Community, local government, forest department, all involved in mangrove plantation with Friendship.
But what makes the Friendship Mangrove project so interesting is that once again it's managed by the community, it belongs to the country, it's not something that will be owned by a corporation from the West or from a rich nation. And really it will benefit the economical life of the communities. It will bring back all that biodiversity of fish, of prawns, of insects that are so happy to live in mangroves. And of course, it will also be a wonderful tool against the erosion of the coastal line.
And when cyclone appears, they have to go for shelter. And sometimes it's 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers away from their home.
আমি আছে 4 কিলোমিটার দূর থেকে আসছি আসতে আমার প্রায় 40 মিনিট সময় লাগছে আমার বাড়ি টিউবওয়েল আছে তবু সে পানি নোনা খাইতে পারি না যার জন্য ফ্রেন্ডশিপে প্রতিদিন আমি প্রতিনিয়ত পানি নিতে আসি
Poverty alleviation. You can save lives. You can ensure that they know how to survive. If they do not have a way for overcoming poverty, then they can't live, they can't survive. So we had to deal with poverty alleviation.
We discovered that in some areas, the poorest of the poor could not even afford the access to electricity. So the idea of having a grid to share the cost and done the pilot and it works. Again, because we understood that some of them needed to pay as you come.
It took 11 months for 80 people to build this boat. Replicas can take 1 month for 2 or 3 people to build. We are a development organization. But what is a development organization? We are people who work with the communities, we work with the people. You can give them everything. You can give them health, empowerment, services, access to services, education. But at the end of the day, they need something beyond. They need to know that they are not standing in isolation. They have this thousands of years of history with them. This is part of their lifeblood. This is part of their soul. We only don't do development, but we create self-respect, identity, and dignity for the people. And this is the reason why I thought cultural preservation, culture which is linked to their lifeblood, should also be preserved. 20 years ago, when I started sustainable economic development within Friendship, one of the things that I thought was crucial was to ensure people had the ability to continue meeting their own needs, which they identified, and we helped them to find ways of solving. We knew we needed to create micro-social entrepreneurs and micro-entrepreneurial hubs for them for continuance. Many, like the parasolar technicians and the farmers, have hubs. We have a farmers club with thousands of farmers linked together, sharing knowledge. This has created a kind of a synergetic effect in the chores. Friendship is now 20 years old. I think the essence of our work is we work with our spirit and our souls. We don't let our heart be taken away by want of growth, want of doing big things. Because when your focus goes on big things, you forget about the individual. I hope the spirit of ensuring working conditions, ensuring respect of an environment of work never changes. Because then you will lose this quality of people and you'll lose this quality of work. Empowerment is understanding the basic geographical, economic, social, political ecosystem in which they exist in this country. 100% of our core work is all with climate migrants. We are serving 7 million people every year, direct service delivery, so that every life we touch, we can leave a positive impact.
Friendship also educates young children and adults in places where there are no schools, and it helps people to understand their civic rights and how they can gain access to legal and government services.
Friendship education started in these inaccessible remote chores of Gaibandha and Kurigram when the people of this community had no hopes. Our mission is to basically enable these children and adults to develop their full potential through quality education, access to technology, to build their character, to make them aware of the various rights, and to develop their mental and the physical faculties. In friendship, we have a specified code of ethics. There are 12 code of ethics that we teach them, and every month they inculcate those code of ethics in their program. They not only practice in the schools, but that also they take it back to their communities.
You know, we have about 4,000 people in friendship, but 60% of those people today are those who are just community people that we have trained to become teachers, to become parasolar technicians, to become paralegal aides, to become community medic aides, who are now working with us. Some of them are in our office. Knowledge is power, and they know where to go, whom to address, how the government is linked to them, what they can demand from the government. How many people in this country, especially in the villages, know that actually the government also provides a legal system if you cannot afford a lawyer? They have to know that, and if they know it, they can demand it.
ফ্রেন্ডশিপ কাজ করার পরে আমাদের শিশু জন্মার সঙ্গে সঙ্গে 45 দিনের মধ্যেই নিবন্ধন করতে হয়। এটা কিন্তু তার আগে জানতো না। একজন বিধবা হওয়ার সাথে সাথে সে অনলাইন করলে তার ভাতা পেয়ে যাচ্ছে, 100% হয়ে গেছে। ওনারা জানতোই না যে খাস জমি একজন ভূমিহীন যার কোনো 10 শতকের নিচে জমি, সেই জমির অংশীদার।
After years of disasters in their life, or years of suffering, many people are broken, lacking identity and dignity. We need to imbue these within them again, nurturing dignity in people, that they know they are someone and they belong to a country. It's their humanity and citizenship. Together, their identity. This is very important to nurture and restart within them. For when they feel that they belong, they can stand up and they can become the future for our country and for tomorrow.
এই যে নারী নির্যাতন করে বাড়িতে, ওইভাবে হয়তো বোঝে না। সামান্য একটা জিনিস, এই ভাত হইতে দেরি হলো কেন, তার কারণে দেয় মার। মানে হালকা মার দিতে যায় বড় ধরনের মার হয়ে যায়, যার কারণে উনি অসুস্থ হয়, যার কারণে হাসপাতাল নিতে হয়, চিকিৎসা দেয়। অতি দেখবেন যে আমার একটা থাপ্পড়ের কারণে আজকে কতখানি 4 দিন 5 দিনের একটা অশান্তি। এই জিনিসটা ওরা নাটকের মাধ্যমে দেখে বুঝতে পারে। তোমরা পরিরে সাজাও লাগলো বিয়ার বাউ, তোমরা মুরাতে সাজাও ওদি মেন্দিয়ানো কইরা রে, ওদি মেন্দিয়ানো কইরা লাগলো ভালো বিয়ার বাউ, তোমরা পরিরে সাজাও। আম্মা আম্মা এই ধরেন চা। কি গো ভাত তুলে দিছো, কাপড় চোপড় গোছাইছো, দুয়ার ঘর ঝাড়ু দিছো?
আম্মা আমার শরীরটা বেশি ভালো না, মাথা ঝিমঝিম করে, পেট ব্যথা করে।
And the theatre women are, some of them are themselves ballo bibahar victim. So ওদের ড্রামাটা যখন করে, মানুষ এমনও হয়েছে যে বিয়ে ঠিক হয়ে গেছে, the parents were in the they were watching the ballo bibaho drama, and they went home and they broke the ballo bibaho.
So we create that link, so wherever they move, however many times their homes are broken, they find an environment in which they can restart their lives again. Because you know, the poor cannot afford poor solutions.
Friendship is an international social purpose organization, an SPO. We broke through the north-south dichotomy of donor-donees and have built together an organization which is truly global. We work as a global team. I am humbled that they think I'm a leader, but they're all leaders through the inspiration and work which we give to the people of Bangladesh and bring to realization for sharing with the world a way of working with values and dignity.
And finally, I think friendship after 20 years of experience in the field has a story to tell. And I would hope that we can share some of our modes of operation, those which have been particularly successful, and thereby have an impact which would go beyond the day-to-day work in the field with the communities which we serve.
But values are what sets an organization to have roots: integrity, dignity, justice, quality, hope. This was friendship. This is what constitutes friendship.
These are not easy times. We are seeing climate catastrophes unfolding everywhere. Wars, inflation, increasing poverty and deprivation. Human empathy and compassion and love are often sidelined. In these times, friendship's mission is as relevant and important as ever. Today, I believe, because of its impact, this work has to be scaled up and replicated with quality and dependability. One of our dreams in this regard is to open Friendship Academy, later perhaps a university, for climate and development studies, embodying friendship's values, ethics-driven university, enriching human character and dealing with the most challenging crisis of the day. But never forgetting to continue our work with quality and respect, and expanding our efforts to give voice to the communities at the forefront of the climate crisis, ensuring their voices and their pains are heard globally, ensure solution for an equitable world tomorrow.